How's it, great jobs? Welcome back to our lesson video. Today we are going to be discussing globalization under economic geography. Okay, yes. So the things that you must know is that the very first thing that you should know is globalization and trade, the character of globalization, the advantages of globalization, disadvantages as well. Okay, yes. So we're going to be looking on these subtopics, discussing globalization and trade, the character of globalization, what happens during globalization, what is globalization, and so on. Advantages of globalization, disadvantages as well, as I said. Okay, going down. Yes, I've made some notes for you guys. Yes, wrap up notes summary, like yes, yeah, like vital concepts. So we're going to be discussing them today. Globalization and trade. What is globalization? Guys, I say it again. Globalization is going to come out in examinations. The definition, yes, the content as well. It's going to come out in your examinations and so on. So please, if ever you have your book um, next to you and your pen, you can just write the important concept and listen carefully during this lesson. So, what is globalization? This is the definition. Globalization is the process of growing exchange between countries of the world. It involves international trade and tourism and the spread of technology and ideas. Okay, so basically, this basically means globalization. This is whereby we are trading. Each and every country is trading to this country. For instance, if South Africa is trading to Cuba, to China, with USA, with European countries, UK, and so on. That's part of globalization, the growing exchange of goods and services. That's trade and tourism. If people from England are coming to South Africa to see the relief, to see the wild animals of South Africa, come and see the Kruger National Park, that's globalization again. And the spread of technology and ideas. Okay, the spread of technology, the most advanced countries like China, like USA, and so on, they spread their technological ideas and so on, their technological advances to other countries. Okay, yes. So, and ideas, information as well. Okay, yes. So, this whereby maybe we can take students who want to become doctors in South Africa and take them to Cuba so that these doctors or these students can become professional doctors. Okay, because maybe Cuba is so good when it comes to producing doctors, and take those doctors back to South Africa. They are informed, they are professional doctors now, back to South Africa to serve the public sector of South Africa. So that's part of globalization. Okay, yes. So it is the free exchange of capital, which is money. Yes, which is money, the information, people, and ideas across the world. The technological development and the growth of consumerism sped up the process. So there is a global workforce and companies manufacturing global brands. For example, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Microsoft. Okay, we have your Coca-Cola, we have your McDonald's, and Microsoft. Okay, please guys, you can just write these very important concepts down. Okay, things that you think you have questions, you can write them down, and so that yes. So technological development and the growth of consumerism sped up the process so that there is a global of years. So in terms of technology, as I said to you, technology also become advanced as time goes to all the countries, and these different advances of technology got introduced to different countries and so on. And then consumerism sped up, meaning that the consumers start to buy so many products and so on. Okay? Yes. They start to consume these products and so on. So that's part of globalization. Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Microsoft. You might find Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Microsoft also in other countries, except here in South Africa. You can find Coca-Cola in South Africa, you can find McDonald's, you can find Microsoft. But if also you go to Ghana, go to Nigeria, go to USA, go to China, go to England, go to NNN, you would find these particular companies. That's part of globalization. Okay? Yes. So globalization is made possible by advanced telecommunications. Okay. Advanced telecommunications is whereby I am going to communicate using a technology device like a cell phone, email, computer, and so on with someone in other countries. Okay, yes, that's number one. Number two, through gaining information using the videos, watching YouTube, and so on. Yes, that's advances in telecommunications. Faster and cheaper transport. Faster and cheaper transport. This basically means that the faster transport, it's your flight. The cheaper transport is your ship. Okay, yes. So it is also made possible by these factors. Okay, changes in trade regulations and control. Yes. So there are policies under trade. Okay, yes. So these policies will go. Maybe they are going to allow the local brands to spare up. They are going to boost up the local brand to be able to export goods and services to other countries and so on. Yes, that's how it goes. Emerging markets in developing countries such as China, for example. So if ever China is, China is one of the most developed countries in the world. So the emerging markets in China is the one that is going to push China to make more exports, to export more goods, okay, and services to other countries, and that is going to boost up and make globalization possible. Yes. So let's discuss the characteristics of globalization. Okay, an increase in international trade. Number one, we have an increase in the international. That's a characteristic. That's a very, very first characteristic of globalization, an increase in international trade. If ever countries are trading to each other, all of the countries in the world are trading to each other, and there's an increase, and other countries are starting to also trade to other countries and so on. That's an increase in the international trade. So that's very first characteristic of globalization. A bigger role for international organizations such as the World Trade Organization and the International Monetary Fund, which is IMF. Yes, yes, yeah. An increase in practice such as outsourcing, the subcontracting of services or manufacture to another company. Yes, an increase in practice such as outsourcing. This basically means that other companies are going to manufacture so many goods, yes, so that they can spare up and so on. More travel and tourism. More travel and tourism. Mind you, guys, I told you that um, tourism is whereby people are coming to visit other country by means of viewing the relief of the country, nature of the country, animals, and so on. So if ever there is more travel, if ever there is more travel in each and every country around the world, if ever there are people from South Africa traveling to USA, and people from USA traveling to China, people from China traveling to Uganda, from Uganda to there's more travel, and so also more immigration. If ever there are more immigrants in your own country, people that are coming from other countries to your own country, state to South Africa. Let's say maybe people from Nigeria coming to South Africa, from Zimbabwe, from Namibia, from to South Africa. These people are coming from different environments, are coming from different areas far away from South Africa, coming with different way of living, introducing new technology to South Africa, introducing new skills, introducing new information, exchanging information with South Africans and so on. That's why it's part of the characteristics of globalization. More immigration. The spread of local consumer goods. The spread of local consumer goods, this is whereby if ever a farmer in South Africa, maybe let's say it's um, it's producing potatoes. So these potatoes are going to be maybe to be exported. That's a spread of local consumer goods to be exported maybe to, to China so that they can make potato chips and so on. That's how it goes. The spread of local consumer goods. That's one of the characteristics of globalization. An increase in worldwide sporting events. For example, FIFA World Cup. FIFA World Cup puts all people in the world together, all different countries together. So when these people meet, they exchange information, they interact to each other, they they have conversations and so on. So that's how these that's why it's one of the characteristics of globalization. Okay, let's go down guys. The development of global telecommunication infrastructure, internet. Okay, so internet is one of the characteristics of globalization. So if ever the internet is developing, this basically means that the corporation is also become rigid and stable. So yes, so it leads to the integration. Economic multinational organizations, yes. Political non-governmental organizations, which are NGOs, NEPAD, and SADC. Culture, American lifestyle, American lifestyle, manners, fashion, practices, and English as medium communication. Yes. All this leads to tension between the rich, developed countries of the North and the poor, developing countries in Africa, South America, Asia as well. So this all leads to the tension between the rich, which are developed countries in the North, and the poor, developing countries in Africa, South America, and Asia. Okay, so you know that countries are not equal. We have developed and developing countries. Developed countries, these are the countries that have um, more exports, they have effective economy, they have high economic rate, and so on. So developing countries are the poor countries, and so on. You know, Africa has a lot of developing countries. They're very poor countries, yes. South America, Asia as well. Okay. So advantages of globalization. Let's talk about the advantages of globalization. The very first advantage is that more aid and direct investment to developing countries helps economic development. Okay. Second one, more economic opportunities. That's the advantage of globalization. Cheaper products available to customers. Okay. Yes. So these are the products. Maybe let me make an example of a Shane company, Shane clothing company in China. There are cheaper products there. There are cheaper clothes. So everyone, maybe mostly in the world, they buy trade, okay, in different countries and so on. Particularly in South Africa, they buy trade and so on. Because there are cheaper products available to customers. Yes, that's part of globalization. Products are standardized and quality improves. So the products are standardized and quality of the products are improved, meaning that the products are in high standard, okay, and then high quality. That's one of the advantages of globalization. Everyone shares in the benefits of technology. People gain access to goods and services from all over the world. Yes, there is a greater variety of things to buy and experience from all over the world. Benefits can trickle out from investment areas to improve the lives of many. Foreign investment in a country can help government raise money for healthcare, education, and more. Okay, maybe also we can also build infrastructure and okay. So now let's discuss and look at our disadvantages of globalization. So let's look at disadvantages. Okay, greater economic vulnerability between countries. That's a disadvantage. Greater economic vulnerability between countries. This basically means that if one country suffers an economic slump, many others will too. Thus, lack of responsibility. Multinational companies in place independent responsible for decisions about where to set up um, batteries, where to close them down, which countries to invest in, then how they should work out. Okay, this basically means that okay, great economic vulnerability between countries. If maybe China, let's make an example of a developed country, which is China, making more exports and so on. If China is struggling in terms of producing food, is struggling in primary activities. This basically means that China is going to be no longer be able to export more goods and services to other countries because we're staying and waiting for China to export these goods and services to us so that we can buy them, exchange of goods and services, which is trade. Okay, yes. So if China has a lack of exports, if there are few exports now, if it's lacking, okay, if it is experiencing an economic slump, this basically means that we are also going to be affected because we always wait for China. Okay, that's what this sentence or this point means. Okay, strong competition between producers. There will be strong competition between producers, which is not healthy. Unequal distribution of wealth. Other people will be pure, other people will be wealthy, and so on. Gap widens between developed and developing countries. Since developed countries of advantage already have these resources and they are working um, effective in terms of their economy, they are not going to suffer. I mean, so there will be a gap that is widening between them and developing countries. International organizations such as the IMF and World Trade Organization apply Western standards to non-Western countries. Yes. So things that are the way people do things in the Western countries. So this way of doing things is going to be introduced in non-Western countries, which is not good. Okay. Yes. Vulnerability, the power of multinational companies can live. Vulnerability. This is the power of um, this is the power of multinational companies can leave. Okay, the power of multinational companies can leave the governments and workers vulnerable. Yes, the poor, the world's poorest, do not see much benefit from globalization, and some people argue it makes their position worse. Okay, so this basically means that poor countries, which are developing countries, they they don't see any advantages of globalization. Okay, this basically means that they are unable to connect, they are unable to exchange goods and services and so on. They don't afford them. Okay, even if they were to import. And also, when it comes to growing their own things, producing their own things, they are unable. They have no machinery and so on. So, so that they can import these goods and services to other countries. Okay, yes. So that's it. So they don't see any um, advantage of globalization. So it becomes a disadvantage to them because it made them worse, while other countries are developing. Develop, they developed countries, they become rich and richer, while them are becoming um, poor and poor worse. Okay, yes. Um, Cultural loss and sameness. This basically means that if ever we're going to use the same brands, okay, we're using the same brands. That's what globalization is doing. If ever I'm wearing a jean in South Africa, or let me say I'm wearing a cloth, or I'm wearing something different from someone who's wearing um, something in USA. Okay, yes. So globalization makes me want to wear the same thing that I saw on YouTube, that I saw on the music video and so on. Okay, yes. So we are all in the world come to be same, wearing the same thing, same culture and so on. So this basically means that we're going to lose our cultures, which is a disadvantage. The presence of global brands and the sophistication advertising used to sell them, yes, makes every street start to look the same. People everywhere, if they can buy the same beggars and want to wear the same few brands of clothing. Yes, that's it. Okay. Okay, now let's go to topic two, which is food security and food insecurity in Southern Africa. Okay, so the key concept that we're going to be discussing in this session is the definition of food security and food insecurity. Factors contributing to food insecurity. Measures to prevent food insecurity. Okay, let's go to definitions. Okay, what is food security? Food security is the availability of and access to food, and it is important for a healthy and productive life. Okay, so food security is the availability of food, and food that is available must be healthy. Okay, it must be healthy, mostly vegetables and so on. So yeah, that's food security, availability of food and so on without harm. Okay, let's move to food insecurity. What is food insecurity? Food insecurity, it is the lack of basic food. This basically means that food insecurity is the opposite of food security. It is the lack of basic food. It ranges from chronic hunger and malnutrition to famine and starvation. Okay, so food insecurity is the lack of basic food, poverty, hunger, and so on. Okay, yes. So if ever you are experiencing food insecurity, this basically means that you are you are experiencing poverty, hunger, and so on. Without food, okay, you can eat and so on. Yes. So while food security is threatened by climate change, okay, so while food security is threatened by climate change, let's say maybe if ever we're experiencing droughts, we are unable to plant or to grow crops, okay, to grow rice, to grow maize, meal, and so this basically means that we can't basically grow our food just because of the climate change, droughts, um, and so on. Yes, the oil prices and farming of crops for biofuels rather than food. Yes, so farming the crops for biofuels rather than food. So at least we must grow food crops rather than biofuels so that we can prevent this food insecurity and so on, so that we can stop threatening our food security. Global organizations that help to provide less developed countries with food include the World Health Organization, Red Cross, and the United Nations. So global organizations that help to provide less developed countries with food include, yes. So there are these organizations that help developing countries, poor countries with food. Okay, yes, countries that are experiencing food insecurity. So these organizations such as World Health Organization, the Red Cross, and the United Nations go there and help. Okay, yes, okay. Food insecurity is worse in developing countries in Africa and Asia. So the lack of basic food is mostly um, found in Africa and Asia, in African countries and Asian countries. Okay, yes. So this is for food security. Okay, so for food security at national level, a country must be able to produce, store, distribute, and import enough food to meet the needs of its people. Okay, so for food security at a national level, a country must be able to export, okay, much food, okay, and also import much food. By the way, yes, to import like to buy food in other countries, must be able to buy food in other countries. Here in South Africa, we didn't have much food this season because there was lack of rain and so on. We must be able then to buy these foods from other countries. Okay, that's how it goes. So yes, this also include that at least the country must be able to produce, to grow crops, to grow this food, and store this food, manufacture this food, distribute this food to all people around the country. Yes, that's how it goes. In South Africa, at least one third of the population does not have food security. So here in South Africa, at least one third of the population does not have food security. Okay, wealthier provinces such as your Gauteng are more food secure than poor provinces in Eastern Cape, KZN, NNN. Rural areas usually have the least food security. Okay, yes. So it's likely to find food security in rural areas. So these provinces that are in South Africa and that are experiencing food insecurity are the ones that have more rural areas and so on. Yes. So one third of the population, this means that it's like something like this. Okay, something like this. You can say it's something like this. So this population here in South Africa is the one that is experiencing food insecurity. Okay, yes. So meaning that at least many people are trying. Okay, trying. Many people are trying. Okay. It looks like it's someone. Yes. So yes, that was just to explain and so on. Okay. To proceed, poverty is always linked to food insecurity. So poverty is as I said, guys, poverty is the same as food insecurity because you're hungry, you can't eat, there's no food, there's lack of food. Okay, yes, hungry people are less able to work, so they remain poor, which leads to more hunger. So hungry people, if ever you are experiencing food insecurity, you can't be able to work, to at least plant crops and so on, to have that energy because you are hungry, you are going through poverty. So you are going to experience more hunger and so on. Yes, that's how it goes. Okay, let's talk about the factors that are contributing to food insecurity. Factors that are contributing to food insecurity. So poverty is always linked to food insecurity. Yes, we spoke about that. Poor people are often caught in a hunger poverty trap. So hunger leads to poverty because a hungry person is less able to complete for work. Yes, I explained that. They are tired, undernourished, or ill. And because of this, a hungry, a hungry person remains poor and hungry. They remain poor and hungry. Yes. Food insecurity is often blamed on natural disasters. These natural disasters, it can be floods, droughts, and so on. Cyclones as well, yes. But it is generally a social and political problem. Yes. So, by natural disasters, I explained that socially and politically. So, we have physical environment factors that can lead to food insecurity. This includes droughts. If ever there are droughts, the land is dry. You can't grow crops. Okay? Yes. The land is not arable, it's inarable. Okay? Yes. Floods, number two, is a natural disaster. Floods are going to wash away the crops. Okay? Yes. Our rivers are very, very full. So water from the rivers are going to wash away um, these crops, ending up not producing food for the country. Going through this food insecurity. Outbreaks of diseases. Yes. Land degradation and soil infertility. If ever the soil is not fertile, this basically means that the soil is not arable. You can't plow. You can't effectively grow crops there. So that also leads to food insecurity. Okay. In Mozambique, often suffers natural disasters such as cyclones, floods, and droughts. Yes. So Mozambique suffers natural disasters such as um, cyclones, floods, and droughts. So meaning that Mozambique is also experiencing high rate of food insecurity. Floods destroy crops. I explained. Yes, also it drowns the livestock. You can't now can't eat now. You can't take this livestock and import it. And export it to other countries and so on, so that you can take other other resources from them. Yes. So yeah, drown livestock, and sometimes there will be a shortage of meat and so on in the country. Wash away transport routes. We can't transport these goods and services. We can't trade and so on. That's how it goes. Okay, so we have social, economic, and political factors that can lead to food insecurity. The very first one is is a shortage of arable land. A shortage of arable land. If ever there is a few availability of land that you can be able to grow crops on, this is going to lead to few crops, few food, and lead to food insecurity in a country. Okay? Yes. The second one is the replacement of of subs the replacement of subsistence farming with cash crops. Yes, that's the second one. High production costs. The high production costs. This basically means that if ever you want to grow your own crops and so on. Let me start this one. Okay. Social, economic, and political factors that can lead to food insecurity include a shortage of arable land. If there is a shortage of arable land, this basically means that there is a small land in a country that is available for people to grow crops on. Okay, and if there is a small area or land, this basically means that there will be few crops that are going to be produced. Okay, yes, there will be few food that is produced and so on. And that is going to lead to food insecurity. Yes, because there are so many people in the country. The second one is the replacement of subsistence farming with cash crops. Subsistence farming is the farming that is made by the households or the farmers without looking for a profit and so on. So by replacing this subsistence farming with cash crops, this um, has led to food insecurity. High production costs. High production costs, this basically means that if ever you want to grow some crops or grow some food, there will be high production cost, meaning that there will be high prices or expensive machines to use, um, expensive fertilizers, and. Okay. Foreign competition, yes, foreign competition, wars and conflict. If there are wars and conflict, everything is going to stop. Everything is going to die. Livestock are going to die. Crops are going to be destroyed. Um, everything is just going to stop and so on. Factories are going to be destroyed and so on. Everything is going to be closed down. Yes. Poor infrastructure. Okay. If there are poor infrastructure, yes, also this can lead to food insecurity. Okay, overcrowding. That's single one. Lack of funds for agricultural research. In order to make or to grow crops effectively, a country must be able to make a research or agricultural research, I can say. Okay, so if a country doesn't have some money or funds to make agricultural research, then boom, you are going to experience food insecurity. Lack of capital, money to invest in supplies and machinery. Okay, if you have a country, poor country, a very, very poor country, if it doesn't have money, this basically means that it can't afford to buy these producing machines, these plowing machines, these planting machines, tractors, and so on. So this basically means that they are going to experience food insecurity because they can't grow their crops effectively. So, okay, let's go to measures to prevent food insecurity. Okay, in South Africa, there are two approaches to address the threat of food insecurity. The government aims to maintain and increase the ability of South Africa to meet its national food requirements as the population and the demand increases by making sure that domestic agriculture continues to produce what is needed. Okay, domestic agriculture, I can say it's same as subsistence farming. Yes, because each and every person in South Africa is motivated by the government and is boosted by the government to grow what is needed, to grow crops, to grow their own food, to have their own gardens, to own their farms, and. Okay. The second one, importing foods that cannot be produced cost effectively. To only take foods from other countries that we can't grow here in South Africa, for example. Okay? Yes. The other one, eradicating inequality and poverty. This is eliminating the inequality. South Africa is one of the most countries that has or experiencing inequality between its citizens and so on. And poverty, and also trying to eliminate poverty. Exporting food excesses at good prices. Okay, this is whereby you're going to grow crops, grow foods, and so on, and take this food, import this food again to other countries, so that you can receive money with good prices and so on. That's how it goes. So inequality and poverty can be eradicated by introducing rural development schemes that include skills training and the funding of farms. So government maybe is going to introduce, but I've seen that our government introducing um, rural development schemes in rural areas so that people can farm, can continue farming and boost farming in rural areas. Okay, and also fund them, sponsor them, and so on. Okay, yes, and also skill training so that people, while they are growing, they can have a skill in agriculture, so they know when to, when to, when to plow, when to plant, when to grow this cabbage, when to grow maize, when to grow this. Yes. Promoting sustainable agricultural practice. Yes, making sure that the agricultural practice in the country is stable. Addressing and resolving issues of land ownership. Other people don't have land. Yes, their ancestors had land, which was going to be their inheritance. Okay, yes, but that land was taken away. Okay, during the apartheid system. So, um, the land ownership problem. This is whereby maybe government is going to buy private land for these people, for these poor people, so that they can be able to farm, because other people don't have land, so they can't actually farm. So government is going to do so. Helping rural households to produce their own food, creating job opportunities. Yes, that's one of it. Improving nutrition, making sure that we grow different vegetables in their land, different foods and so on. Okay, yes, by improving this nutrition. Improving food emergency management system. If ever a certain area or a certain rural area is experiencing food insecurity, government is going to distribute its own emergency management system, its food emergency management system, so that they can go and help them give off food and so on, and motivate them to farm and so on, to grow their own food. That's how it goes. Okay, now let's talk about National Food Fortification Program. Okay, what is National Food Fortification Program? Okay, let's discuss it. Okay, lack of essential vitamins and minerals in the diet causes deficiency diseases. The poor are especially vulnerable to dietary deficiencies. Yeah. So, food fortification is the addition of essential micronutrients to basic food. Yes. So that is food fortification. Let me repeat. You can also write it down. I think you have your pen and your book next to you. So, food fortification is the addition of essential micronutrients to basic food. If ever a food that is being grown, okay, as a crop, but it doesn't have, or it doesn't seem that it has much nutrients, so it is going to be given or added some micronutrients to it. Okay, that's how it goes. The National Food Fortification Program in South Africa ensures that all stable foods such as, or for example, maize, are fortified. So maize is being fortified. Growing maize, if you grow maize, if ever your maize doesn't have much nutrients, your maize is going to be fortified. This basically means that your maize is going to be given much nutrients, or to add much or other nutrients in this maize, because there's shortage of nutrients and so on. Okay, let's talk about genetically modified food. Genetically modified food are produced from genetically modified plants or animals. Genetically modified plants have been engineered so that they contain one or more foreign genes. This gives plants improved growing properties, such as increased resistance to pests. An insect-resistant, genetically modified plant produces a poison toxin that kills pests such as caterpillars. Okay, so genetically modified foods. These are the foods that I can say are engineered. Yes, engineered or injected. There's some injection in these foods or plants, okay, so that they can grow effectively, so that they can, um, some of them, you might modify these crops so that you can prevent pests, okay? Yes, can prevent pests. That's how it goes. So we have advantages as well as disadvantages, okay? Advantages as well as disadvantages of this genetically modified food. Let's start with advantages. The very first advantage is increased yields. There will be increased yields, as I said to you. Okay, if ever maybe you are growing maize and you apply genetically or you modify genetically this maize so that it can gives you big maize, okay, yes, large quantities of corns, of maize. Second one, better quality. Millis is not going to rotten and so on. Millis is going to be high quality and better quality. More environmentally friendly pest control, and farmers use fewer pesticides. Yes. So the pesticides that are going to be used by farmers are the pesticides that are environmentally friendly, meaning that they don't affect negatively the environment, or uh, they don't negatively affect the environment. And also these pesticides are few, because also your product or your crop is being modified. It prevents um, pests. So few pesticides that are going to be used, because you know that pesticides are dangerous in terms of the during the rainfall or precipitation, they are going to be washed to the rivers. Yes. So that's how it goes. And it's going to affect negatively the aquatic life. So let's discuss the disadvantages. The disadvantages of these genetically modified foods. Okay, genetically modified seed is more expensive. So this basically means that other farmers, more especially rural farmers, are not going to afford these seeds. So they're not going to grow their crops. Second one, the public is wary of genetically modified foods. So the public is wary of these genetically modified foods because we consume these foods. Last one, the impact of genetically modified plants on the environment and human health is unknown, which is much more dangerous for our health. Okay? Yes. So not knowing what you are consuming, the dangers of it and so on is also dangerous into your own self. So it's very important to know um, more about what you are consuming and so on. So yes, so that's the end of the lesson for the day, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Subscribe, guys, please. See you in the next lesson. Have a great and wonderful day. Cheers.